Welcome to our channel. This channel deals with the fire journey of family. Our network goal is $5 million.
Month we've lost 2K, which I know does not seem like a lot compared to like net worth, but it's nothing you like to see.
This is how we're tracking throughout the years. Uh, Steady growth trajectory, which is what we love.
We're just shy of 4 million. We're looking forward to the 4 million just because we'd like to celebrate those sort of large milestones, especially since this brings us so much closer to our E phase. So this is the breakdown. I want to just the one thing to note here is the brokerage accounts have gone down, both of them, but the housing has gone up, which is a little surprising compared to where we see the economy headed. But again, we look at three brokerages and their estimate, and we take the lowest of the low of all of them. So it is something to keep an eye on, especially since we do plan on selling our house once we retire and using that capital to either purchase another property or rent for a while. And the breakdown. So this looks like there's a lot of categories, especially ones we don't see usually, like home and entertainment. So let's go over the numbers and we can break it down. I would say this month is again one of those ones where like we're paying for a large family gathering this month, and we'll also be purchasing some summer uh, things. So let's go over the numbers. I think it will be more better to see actual numbers than a pie chart. Travel, that's a huge amount. Even for us, that's like a third of our yearly budget in retirement. The reason for that, we have purchased our summer uh, plane tickets, like the big ones. So we're applying a large international um, event, not event, sorry, trip. We are also planning a domestic trip as well. So both of them have been purchased, and this is to do with that. As well as some expenses we incurred this month. Like I mentioned, we had a large family gathering, and we invited the entire family, and we paid for everyone. So that's why you see such a huge entertainment budget. Uh, this is us doing that. How will we handle that once we're retired? This comes to like different allocations. So we have a travel budget, we have an entertainment budget. What happens when we go over? Well, it depends on the cause, right? For this specific one, the large family gathering has to do with a birthday for one of our kids. Therefore, it's under like the child care type expenses that we budget 12K a year for per child. So I think like it's valid, but it's also something once we retire, we have to be mindful of these sorts of things and plan accordingly, budget accordingly. Like nothing we will do now will change. We were not planning to downscale our um, quality of life when we retire. We need to be more mindful of stuff we spend money on. Expenses. So since the budget is so large, expense budget is so large, I want to go over just to everything else is large as well as comparison. So food, like I mentioned, we purchase food for family members that are visiting. Um, this is also the restaurant budget for that. Um, oh, I see. I have entertainment twice, so that's a mistake. And childcare. This is the reason for why it's big is pre-purchasing, not pre-purchasing, just purchasing summer camps for the kids. We're not planning too many summer camps, but we are planning a few weeks, and the rest spent on travel. Total expenses to just shy of 29K. I think this is one of the biggest ones we've ever had. Um, Nothing unusual. Like we have a yearly budget, so some months are going to be like extra heavy, and some are not. This just gives us like the cost of travel is relatively cheap. I would say 5K, no, not 5K, 7K for plane tickets for all of us. So it is a big expense sometimes, but sometimes you just need to bite the bullet one once and plan for it. This is more to do with cash flow and retirement. How will we make sure like we always have the cash flow needed? Do we like have a yearly cash flow or always in the bank, or just use some bonds like short-term bonds, etc., to hold us sort of over?
So a little about us. We're two working parents. We have three children aging from ages from 7 to 11, and we live in a high cost of living area.
Travel budget plan in retirement is 3K. So we started collecting data about our various vacations, and the rest of the video is various vacations and their breakdown of cost. Vacation we took, this was a very splurgy vacation with high-end hotels and stays. That's where you see sort of like this high level of cost of stays. Uh, with a bit of travel hacking, this was significantly lower than expected. Cost of the vacation, $12,000, which breaks down to the five of us of $170 per day per person. Vacation just the adults took to Japan. So this is just for the two of us. Flights were relatively expensive. The stays was mostly hotels throughout the time, which is a bit surprising considering the lower cost of Japan compared to what we budgeted and planned. It was relatively super cheap to compare to even a Motel 6 in the US, a high-end hotel over there. Vacation was about 6,500, which is about $160 per person per day. This was about a 2.5, 3 weeks vacation. It was partially traveling and partially just working. Vacation we took for the five of us. This does not include RVs or anything to that extent. This was hotels and driving around in a rental car. It is comparatively more expensive than we imagined with this sort of like road trip type vacation, which is a little surprising compared to the rest, but good data to have. Vacation to 8,200, which comes up to about $100 per person per day. The vacation we took with an RV, so that's why you see flights here are zero because we took an RV and traveled throughout. That's why you see transportation is very expensive. It was mostly that sort of like rental of the vehicle and stays. So the stays you see here is basically campground fees. Various campgrounds. Sometimes we dry dock. Sometimes we offer the kids. Went to an RV that campground that had more facilities like a pool, etc. That vacation to about $4,000, which is comes out to about $100 per person per day. Vacation we took in New York City, Manhattan. We stayed in a downtown, very nice hotel. Um, it was like I think a 3 or 4 day weekend sort of thing. So pretty expensive for like a quick, large, long weekend, but it's something we occasionally do expect to do. So that's why it's super expensive. Like relatively, it's not that much, but it's very expensive per day. A Manhattan is an expensive place to stay, but also we did a lot of activities in that jam-packed weekend. Another Hawaii vacation. It's different than the one earlier in this video, but it is nice to see like the difference between them. Again, this was a flights, high-end hotels, and some Airbnbs as well. So a combination of both, and pretty awesome. This vacation to 6,600, which comes up to about $120 per person. Of the vacation took in California. Everything's pretty cheap compared to the other vacations we've had. We just found it very interesting to see the differences. California is still an expensive place to visit and stay, but it is convenient. California vacation to about $180 per person per day. So half of New York, but more than a road trip slash RV vacation. It's zero. We're planning to continue with that. It really helps. We struggled for years to pay this down before we start making these videos. So thank you for watching, and we plan to post about a video every month or so with our updated net worth.